I put together a fire perfume tray in the month of October. I focused on pulling cozy and yummy scents that would just help me to feel better. This transition from fall to winter has been hard on me. I am still in denial. Winter is a coming and I'm not happy about it. So to make myself feel better, I focused on fragrances that would make me feel bundled up at home wherever I went. Can I be cocooned in a cloud of marshmallows? That is the question. So in today's video, I'm going to share the fragrances I was wearing down and really happy with in the month of October. Most of these are heavy as fuck, y'all, but I'm happy to share it with you if you're looking for a similar kind of thing for next month.
Baby, can you give me just a little bit more of what I've been missing? We got time.
Hi, I'm Jeanique, and one of the reasons I love fragrances so much is that they can just boost your mood several levels without really trying. Just a little spritz, a little spray, and all of a sudden you just feel just a little bit more relaxed. And that is the work I needed my fragrances to do this month. So the fragrances that I'm going to be showing you today is not just like cozy at-home bedtime fragrances. I was trying to feel cozy everywhere all the time, at work, at play, at the bar, on the balcony, in bed. It did not matter. I needed cozy time, yummy time, all the time, and these fragrances managed to pull that off for me, and I needed to share with y'all. So let's talk cozy yummy fragrances, because yes, thank you. If you enjoy this kind of video, don't forget to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And for anybody who's already subscribed, who've already watched one of my videos and come back for more madness, I appreciate you because you're awesome, you're lovely, and you make wonderful life choices. Okay, now let's get into it.
You don't know what you're doing to me. Let me know how you feel. Make it time for ya. If it's real, we can build. Hold it tight.
So I basically needed a security blanket for work this month, and so I really focused on pulling fragrances that were really texturally very heavy, cozy without reading too juvenile, bedtime, or sexy. And so I went with two fragrances, great picks by the way, two fragrances that do exactly that. Read professional, but they're like a perfumey hug in a lot of ways. And the first one is Elisab Le Parfum Intense. This is primarily an amber fragrance. It doesn't skew too sweet, but there is a real sweetness in this from honey. The honey in this is a very clean honey. Now, sometimes honey can read animalic, really sticky, really heavy. It can be a turn off for a lot of people. And sometimes honey just gets overshadowed by base notes like woods and amber. In this, honey is holding up well. It is this very clean, airy, sort of thin honey on top of this really round, robust, not sweet amber. It is really lovely. Now that is paired with this yellow floral. It's like a ylang ylang yellow floral and a slight bit of orange blossom. So it is a very floral fragrance with a lot of amber and a little bit of sweetness from the honey. It's a very cozy fragrance, but you feel like a boss as well when you wear it because it doesn't skew too sweet, and that amber just feels really grown and professional in a lot of ways. So I loved this one, especially on the colder days, because we got snow. It was terrible. We got snow, and this was really fantastic on those very cold days that we had. Now on slightly warmer days, slightly warmer, Hugo Boss Deep Red really sort of pulled through for me. Now, this fragrance is a classic for a reason. I love this one. I think for the most part, it is tuberose and vanilla. Just a very creamy tuberose that almost reads, in my opinion, almost like coconut without the coconutty smell, or like it has almond or something. There's something very creamy about this fragrance, and with that vanilla, it just does a lot of beautiful work. Now, there's a lot of different fruits in this. Ignore all of them. Mostly what I get is a very sweet pear in here. Not anything too ripe, but you get a nice just pear sweetness and a little bit of tartness from the bitter orange in here to add a little bit of like citrusy dimension. It is lovely. There are other things in the base like sandalwood and things. I don't really get a lot of like sandalwood in this fragrance. What I do get, especially in the dry down, is the musk. I think it's like a lovely lovely fragrance that like lasts well and smells really grown and pulled together. I would say of the two, this one is slightly more severe, right? Like I think because of the absence of sweetness, a lot more sweetness in the Hugo Boss, that this reads a little bit more approachable and a little less challenging. I think this one requires that you love amber a lot because you cannot get away from it in this. It is not just amber boosting florals, it is mostly amber that has been accompanied by florals and fruit. I think these are really beautiful, like daytime, work time, cozy fragrances, if that's something you're looking for. So my work winners were mostly cozy, but my daytime fragrances were another matter. They were mostly very, very, very yummy. And I was surprised by the ones that were my faves by the end of the month, but not sort of. And they were Zara Fabulous Sweet and Mancera Instant Crust. Wait. It's not just Mancera, it's Mancera layers. We're gonna get into like the Mancera combination that made it win, basically. So let's start off with Fabulous Sweet. The reviews I had seen of this fragrance before I got it were that it wasn't anything special. It was pretty basic, and it was disappointing for a lot of people. For me, that wasn't the case. This for me felt like a cloud of sweetness. It just felt like being wrapped up in sugar, and some days you wake up and you just want to be wrapped up in sugar. That's all I am saying. So this was, for me, was a winner. And more than that is that like I read on my skin a lot more dimension than I expected. So it is tuberose, but a very light tuberose, not a green tuberose. It's still a sweet one, but it's texturally very light. It does not have the creaminess that you might hope or expect out of tuberose. It also has vanilla and tonka. It does not have the creaminess you'd expect out of vanilla and tonka. They're both very airy in here. There is some fruit. I think there's pear in here, adding a bit of sweetness. The most shocking part for me is that I saw that coconut water was a note, and I'm always, hear me, always disappointed with coconut water notes, because I always feel like they promise me coconut water and what I get is like a not creamy regular coconut. You know what I mean? This for me, I read coconut water in this, which is wild and kind of fun and just makes me really happy, feel a little islandy when I put this on. I feel like I've been transported 10 years into the past, just living my most carefree life whenever I put this on. I love wearing this around the house, just like doing house chores, because it's just such a happy scent. It's gonna put me in the right headspace, the right mood. I was putting this on and listening to Danny Kane and Day 26 and just got me going, just going around my apartment, just going around my apartment, just spraying this down and listening to just good R&B music from like, I don't know, 15 years ago. It was a long time. Anyway, that was a winner for me. This fragrance is often compared to BR540. It is similar. It is a saffrony, aromatic, woody fragrance that doesn't skew too sweet. This is a beast mode fucking fragrance. Hear me that. A lot of Mancera fragrances, Montal fragrances coming from Pierre Montal are beast mode fragrances, and you can usually get them at a discount on discount websites for under $100 for 120 mils. It is worth it. Don't buy it full price ever. Hear me. So you might say to me, Jeanique, Instant Crush is not a yummy fragrance. It is all about the layering with this one. Now, one of my favorite types of fragrances to layer with are aromatic fragrances. Fragrances that have a lot of musk, fragrances that have saffron, ginger in there. I find that those notes have a way of boosting and making other fragrances feel bigger and more enveloping. It's like this is a magnifier for other things. And so you might say, yeah, this is great with very sweet fruit. I love layering Coral Fantasy from Valentino with this, that very like crisp, thin sweetness. With this, just sort of hovers you down, extra heavy in sweetness. But more than that, and I've made a short about this before, I love to layer aromatic fragrances like this with lactonic and or creamy fragrances. So let's start with Zadegan Voltaire's This Is Her. Now this is a very milky smelling fragrance, very lactonic. It's not too sweet. It sits on the skin really beautifully. You layer these together, right? And it sort of amplifies the milkiness. So it feels like you're just covered in sweet, creamy creamy goodness. This is a wonderful combination. Funnily enough, Zara did a dupe of this. Is her it's called Feels at Nightfall, and it essentially takes this fragrance, strips out all the lactonic elements and replaces it with aromatic ones and musk. So basically the same, except you get to keep the lactonic and creamy elements, and that gets boosted by the aromatic components. I think it's a fantastic combination, and I was excited to wear it, and it made me feel yummy because I was. One of the other ways that I love to wear this, which I like a little bit more of a risky choice, you know, is to take Instant Crush, right, and go with Comme Toi Sud Pacifique's Vanille Cafe. No, this is vanilla and coffee. It's a very pronounced coffee note. It's a little sharp. It's like a dark rose. It is very identifiable. It is a little bit musky and sharp in the back of the fragrance. Now, this doesn't have a ton of staying power for all that it's doing, but introducing some extra sweet vanilla to this fragrance and some coffee, y'all. So like I said, the aromatic elements really just boost, lift up, and make some of those other notes feel. So for nighttime, I wanted to be enveloped in these rich, decadent smells that would just sort of wrap me up in beautiful textures and feelings and intense smells. I didn't want anything light for nighttime. I wanted to go hard with it, and I start at a place that I knew I would be happy and I would be satisfied. I've talked about the Only One 2 from Dolce & Gabbana before, because this fragrance to me is like the meeting of opposites, and they're just doing so in a way that like is so intoxicating. I think for this fragrance, it's either a love or a hate, I think, depending on what you're looking for. But for me, at the moment I smelled this was a love. Now, I've talked about the Only One line, Only One Original, Only One Intense, and Only One 2, and how for me it's just a really successful, like beautifully blended set of fragrances that do very different things. Now, why do I love this? You get this very crisp, almost piercing sweetness. I've talked about the Only One before and how it is this like not at all shy sweet caramel. It isn't trying to be nuanced or layered. It is punching you in the face with sweetness, that fragrance. This does that as well, but with red berries and blackcurrant, this sort of fruity sweetness that feels a little bit more full than the caramel in that one. Just very sweet, almost piercingly so. And instead of sort of mellowing it out with creaminess or airiness or whatever, this fragrance comes at it with coffee and ambergris. These very dark, deep, heavy notes. So you're getting this heavy sweetness, this heavy darkness, almost smokiness, this really rich, deep coffee smell coming together, and they're battling it out. They're battling it out in your body. Like, it's just wild and intense and beautiful, in my opinion. I think this is an incredibly sexy fragrance, and you can't help but get wrapped up in it because it is so intense. The sweetness is intense, the darkness is intense, and once it starts to mellow down, you get a little bit of rose, you get a little bit of floral, you get a little bit of something else going on, but for the most part, it's coffee, ambergris, and very, 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 very sweet fruit. It's lovely. I love it. No. For my other nighttime scent, I wanted to get something a lot cozier. No, that one was yummy. This one is a lot cozier because it's a lot heavier and thicker. Y'all know I love this one. Is Roberta Cavalli in Era Assoluto. I've talked about her. I love her. She and me go together. This is essentially very creamy vanilla, sweet vanilla, not overly so, but sweet, creamy, rich vanilla, right? And very dark, deep ebony. Now, I have joked before that ebony as a wood, for some reason, evokes the, like, in my mind, coffee if it were a wood, right? Like, there's something about ebony and how it layers and how rich and how dark it is, but how well it plays with other things, that I always think about coffee when I think about ebony as a wood. And in this, that's sort of what it feels like to me, like a heavier coffee in the vanilla, but it's not. It's wood. It's ebony wood. It's great. This is a fantastic nighttime scent. It's a fantastic cold night scent. It is even a snuggle up on the couch watching a movie while it's snowing out type nighttime scent. It is a beautiful one. Anybody wearing this is people want to snuggle up to you. Like, it's hard not to if you love a vanilla sweet fragrance. Love, 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 love this one. This was an absolute winner for me in the month of October. And I think I'm taking her into November with me. I should branch out. I should wear other things, but I love her. I do. So since we were just cozying up on the couch, let's make our way to the bedroom and talk about my bedtime scents, my bedtime winners. Now, there are definitely fragrances in the last month that I wore more often. I'm also testing the fragrances from Le Monde Gourmand at night to get a sense of what they give and if any of them are full bottle worthy. But the two fragrances that were the winners for me are so because they just wore really nicely to bed. They weren't typically bedtime scents for me. They got moved to the bedtime scent tray and I've been very happy with them. The first one is FCUK's French Connections Friction. And this fragrance is essentially very creamy coconut that reads slightly, more than slightly, like suntan lotion. There is also sponge sugar in here. It feels a little bit airy because of that, but not overly so. The texture of this fragrance is raw heavy. It is so heavy. They claim on the internet, there are a whole bunch of notes in this. I don't believe them. I don't, because I don't smell any of them. What this smells like to me is coconut, vanilla, sponge sugar, and a little bit of a something floral. I can't identify the floral, but it's in there, I guess, right? It's a very soothing fragrance, especially if you like take a shower and lotion up for bed and you already have that lotiony smell to you. You put this over top. It just feels like your skin just a little bit sweeter. Like you are the sponge sugar. It's lovely. The other fragrance that surprised me was Kim Kardashian Pure Honey. I find this fragrance confusing. Not because it isn't good. I bought it. I enjoyed. I love honey in fragrances. But for all the reasons that the way I like my bedtime scent is don't be too distracting. Just sit there, be pretty, be sweet, and lull me to bed. There is so much happening in this fragrance that it should not work for bed, but it does. And I'm going to take you through it. So there's a very pronounced beeswax smell, and it was very nostalgic for me because I haven't smelled beeswax like in its real form in a very long time. And when I smelled this, it just took me back to like being a kid and smelling beeswax for the first time and just being like, wow, I get that, it comes through. The honey in here is not that like artisanal expensive honey. It's like the honey that comes in the bear, right? And then you put it in the freezer, it freezes, and you're sort of getting this smell of like freezer burn sort of and honey together. It's a cold smell. And it's striking, right? Because I think of honey as a warmer note. And in this, it feels very cold. Now, I've had honey fragrances like Sensuous from Estee Lauder that have this kind of almost soapy honey smell. And there's an element of that in this. But it's heading in a far, like, not just soapy and sort of fresh, but also kind of cold as well, like freezer. I don't know. It's great because somehow it all works. There's something about getting out of a hot shower and putting this on and having that freshness come through and that coolness come through. It's just very soothing to me. And I found myself really appreciating this fragrance. Now, if you put this on like an hour before bed and you have it dry down on you, like as it goes, it like changes form as it goes. And in the middle, what we kind of get is what feels like a little bit soapy, a little bit boozy. I know that don't sound like it would smell good. A little bit of honey and a little bit shampooy to me. And then we get to the dry down when it's time to like actually go to sleep. And it's this suntan lotion coconut with the honey, and like I said, honey in the bear squeezy thing. Like it's not that artisanal like just crisp honey. It's this very like, this is honey in my cupboard that I paid $2 for. And some people might say, well, that makes it smell cheap. I don't know, I just find it very comforting together. Also, this cost me like $15, so I'm not bad at it for what it's doing. I think it is just a fun fragrance for me to go to bed in, and I just have a little bit of a chuckle as it develops on my skin, and it takes me through a roller coaster until it's time for me to like snooze, and it's just this really like soothing, lulling kind of sweet smell. I enjoy this one a lot. So I tend to be kind of excessive with the travel fragrances. I usually carry them in this bag here, and they're like a Valentino in here, and there's Armani in here. But as far as like the winners of the month, I have two that I think are standouts that I want to share with you because I really enjoyed wearing them a lot, and I felt like they layered well with a lot of different things, and they just showed up for me in very real ways. And the first one I want to talk about is Nateeva's Jamaica. Basically, I got this fragrance for the name. I'm like, hello, it's called Jamaica. I have to get it and wear it. And I was not expecting to fall in love with it. I thought it was gonna be, it's fine. I did that. But you know what? I was wrong. This is a fire fragrance and it rocks my world in October. So what is this fragrance? It's floral, a whole bunch of dry wood, and citrus. So let's start with the citrus first. There is a tartness and a sweetness at the same time. It doesn't have a lot of freshness. It's sour and it's sweet and sour together. Citrus, love that. There is hibiscus in this, I think. I'm pretty sure there's hibiscus. What am I thinking? Hibiscus. There's hibiscus in this. And it gives this sort of dry floralness to the fragrance, a little bit green, nothing overly so. There is the big players, the big shotters in this fragrance, other than the musk, the big shotters. There is vetiver and guaiac wood in what I would say is a very feminine fragrance. How do they pull that off? I don't know. Now, both vetiver and guaiac wood read to me as very dry woods. They don't feel like I said, ebony feels like coffee. It feels something supple and moist about it, or sandalwood feels creamy to me, right? Oud feels earthy. Vetiver and guaiac feel dry to me, and sometimes they can feel smoky. They don't feel smoky in this. They feel almost like hay-like, a little leathery. It's cozy in a way that is different from the other fragrances I've talked about that are soothing, kind of cozy. This feels like armor, right? Like you feel very powerful when you put this on. You feel unstoppable. It layers well with a lot of different things. Like I said, aromatic notes, and vetiver is very much an aromatic note, right? Just layers well with all these different things. It layers well with a lot of the fragrances, the creamier fragrances I've incorporated into my month. This fragrance just shocked me by being just so big and bold and takes no prisoners, and it's just combining all of these elements that are competing but work really, really well together in this fragrance. I'm really happy with Jamaica. She's a vibe. The next one I went with was complete opposite in terms of the energy I was trying to give, and it was Rosie Jane's Dolce. Now, I said with my whole fucking chest, I said this, that I didn't think it was more than travel size worthy, that it was this sort of thin, sweet, flat vanilla that I've seen before, and I wasn't particularly excited to get the bigger bottle, especially because it's always sold out. I can't even imagine how it is right now while the Sephora sale is going on. That it wasn't worth the hassle of trying to get the full size bottle. But the full size bottle of this I think is $90, so I think 100 mils if I'm not mistaken. And as I've worn this one, it has grown on me in a very real way. Just that very crisp, sweet vanilla that feels like it builds the longer you're wearing it. Like, is it getting sweeter the longer I have it on? Because so many fragrances, you can go nose blind to it the longer you have it on. But with this one, it just feels like it's going and it's building on your skin, and it's getting to this point of just very crisp sweetness that is a very gourmand vanilla that isn't very creamy. It's very crisp. It's very airy. I love it. And I take it back. It is 100% full bottle worthy, not just travel size worthy, because I think I'm going to work my way through this very, very quickly, because it is also coming into November with me, because I just found spraying this at odd times throughout the day just very, very comforting. And because vanilla goes with everything, like peanut butter goes with everything, I just sprayed it over top of everything that I was wearing. Like, oh, today I'm wearing a floral fragrance. Am I gonna spray this over top of it at lunchtime? Yes, I am. And it will go together. So I think I'm gonna need a full bottle of this. When it will be in stock again, I don't know. Probably never. I had some good ones, didn't I, this month? Yeah, I had variety out here. I had citrus, aromatics, florals, vanillas, woody fragrances. I didn't just stick to one thing. I'm giving y'all variety because I gave myself what? Variety. I picked some really great fragrances that helped to soothe my heart when snow started falling and I wanted to bawl my eyes out. Why do I live in a place where it starts to snow in October? Masochism, obviously, but it is what it is. We're living through what we're living through, and these fragrances absolutely helped me feel better, and I hope they do the same for you if you're struggling out in these streets like I am. Let me know in the comment section if you wear, love any of these, if you hate any of these. I want to know about it. What are your cozy, yummy fragrances? Let me know. Maybe I need to check those out, add them to my rotation as well. I'll see you in the next video. I'm excited to come back. I placed my Sephora order literally within an hour of the sale starting. I got all the things. Lies. 2 things were sold out in the like hour it took me to order. Excuse me, Sephora people. Hello, Sephora customers. Why are y'all unhinged? I mean, I was one of the terrible ones, like up in the middle of the night buying stuff. But anyway, I will bring back and talk to you about what I picked up when they arrive, which I think is next week. I'll report back. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate y'all being here. Y'all are so kind for watching my video, continuing to. I appreciate it. I hope you come back for the next one. If you enjoyed this video, check out my last perfume tray video for the month of September, my like going into fall perfume tray, which was very different than this one. Maybe you'll enjoy that one as well. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.
Baby, you're the one and only. Baby, you've been on my mind. You know you don't have to be lonely. You can come and take my time.